Welcome. My name is Victoria Winland. This online presentation on the interdisciplinary teaching approach for secondary mathematics is done in partial fulfillment for the course ED 530 Advanced Teaching Methods. Mathematics is many things to many people. To most students, it is simply one of those obstacles that must be overcome to obtain a degree. Many wish they could better understand it, but more often than not, they will throw up their hands in frustration. They will admit to either hating the subject or fearing it. The blame for this is partly on the teacher. Students have no interest in mastering the subject because neither the teacher nor the curriculum point out any practical use. Students do not see God or His beauty in math. They do not see the mathematical structure of the world pointing toward God's existence and His beauty in nature. For an example of God's mathematical nature, look at the Fibonacci sequence. In the year 1202, Leonardo of Pisa came out with a mathematic book explaining arithmetic and number sequences. The Fibonacci sequence is the following: 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. These numbers are then used to derive the golden ratio. The golden ratio is 1 to 1.618. It appears naturally in almost all aspects of life, such as petals on a rose, family trees and bunnies, and the body ratios in humans. It is said that people that are considered naturally beautiful have a face and body that follow the golden ratio. Both the Fibonacci numbers and the golden ratio appear in honeybees. The Fibonacci numbers are very well represented in honeybees. For example, if you follow the family tree of honeybees, it follows the Fibonacci sequence perfectly. You can see here I mixed in a little bit of science to explain a naturally occurring mathematical sequence. Teachers should try an interdisciplinary approach when teaching secondary mathematics because mathematical knowledge can be easily applied to other topics in different subjects. Math teachers need to love math as much as music teachers love music or science teachers love science. Students do not deserve teachers who are bored and tired or not qualified to teach math. There can even be a lack of ability to create interest in the classroom. The main aims when teaching math are to develop student skills to reflect upon the world and then provide them with knowledge to act upon the world. Also to formulate and solve problems by using knowledge across different domains. Most mathematics textbooks do not support these goals. The exercises and problems in math textbooks have a high level of abstraction and they allow for the use of math concepts and algorithms only in math context. This is where an interdisciplinary approach is beneficial. Many confuse the word interdisciplinary with multidisciplinary. The interdisciplinary approach is not a combination of two or more disciplines. It is one discipline which is facilitated by one or more disciplines. It is a method of educational instruction where a student learns about a single topic from multiple viewpoints. Learning can become more meaningful if teachers intentionally make connections between abstract mathematical ideas to common events in the everyday world. Mathematics is a common language of many other disciplines. It not only helps us to solve difficult real-world problems, but also helps us to understand how the universe works. The application and utility in actual life should be mentioned often. More people easily become bored with a topic if they do not see the relevancy of it as it pertains to their life. So whenever possible, students should be given the opportunity to connect their mathematical learning to real-life context. This approach will enhance their reasoning, problem-solving skills, critical thinking, and help them gain competency. Mathematical competence is defined as the ability to develop and apply mathematical thinking in order to solve a range of problems in everyday situations, with the emphasis being placed on process, activity, knowledge, while being while basic competences in science and technology refer to the use of application and knowledge and methodologies that explain the natural world. Developing students' ability to apply mathematical thinking to solve everyday life problems is a long process which is based on modeling the real world and developing problem-solving skills. During the learning process, students must learn how to apply mathematical thinking in different contexts. Teachers should be clear about the goals of teaching mathematics to their students. Here are some sample goals listed. 1. To develop reasoning ability and thinking process of students. To enable students to do different kinds of calculations related to daily life problems. To make them creative by developing analytical and discovering abilities in them. To enable them to learn other subjects of science and general science. To prepare them for higher studies. And to develop scientific approach in them to understand the realities of life on the base of logic. Most students will admit they enjoyed learning mathematics in elementary school, but as they continued, their motivation dwindles. They begin to question, when am I ever going to use this? Lack of intrinsic motivation for higher learning will negatively impact students' learning outcomes. It would be beneficial to conduct a quick discussion at the beginning of the year of what students will hope to learn in your class. Many might answer what they want in math is that it would be helpful in their personal lives, like balancing a checkbook or figuring out what their wage increase could be. Some might say that they just want to know enough math to pass the test and final exam without being too stressed. The interdisciplinary approach better addresses students' learning styles, and it creates a great opportunity to collaborate with other teachers. Math teachers could set aside time each year for students to focus on a topic and draw connections between various subjects using resources they have in the school or in the surrounding area. If you are unable to set aside time this way, you may be able to work with a teacher or set of teachers in different subjects to give students an interdisciplinary view of a topic. In this kind of inquiry-based integrative work, the students may listen to a speaker or watch a video or take a field trip to frame the essential question, and then by working in groups follow a series of rotations that tackle the issue from many different angles. Each rotation would take a class period up to 50 or 60 minutes. The mathematical content of these lessons could be a concept that is not usually studied in the regular curriculum, because these topics would be discrete, like arrows and possibility theorem, so you could create and use conceptual material and activities and adjust your goals to fit the time available. Examples of assignments of connecting math to other disciplines would be using the topic of real numbers in music. Musically inclined students could compose and play a piece to represent different rational and irrational numbers. Or highlighting numerical functions in science. Have students collect water samples and measure dissolved oxygen and the temperature. Students will use different ways of describing a numerical function while analyzing practical situations when studying water quality. Students could also write the distance between the sun and each planet using exponential form. Combining social studies and math is easy too. Students can learn about what life was like in the 1800s and then compare it with today. They can create a simple chart and use multiplication to figure out how much money a typical worker would make in a week, a month, or even a year, and then compare it to today's equivalent purchasing power. This is a great way to help them understand inflation rates. For students who have predominant verbal and linguistic intelligence, give them the option of learning math by reading literature and writing essays. The integration of math into other subjects makes students think about the real world, which is the goal of the National Council of Teachers in Mathematics. It also makes students start to think about why things happen, which gives them a practical approach to learning and using mathematics. Teachers can provide activities that will help students learn how to calculate sales tax and discounts. They can learn about home loans and how to calculate sales price, interest, and commission percentages. Have them figure out how many hours they need to work their minimum wage job to make a certain amount of money, and then have them figure out what a 2.5 or 4% raise would mean for their monthly budget. These types of interdisciplinary examples show students in a concrete way that mathematics is a tool they can use to quantitatively understand the world around them. One of the challenges most educators will face is from the use of a discipline-based learning teaching structure. They may be unfamiliar with how to integrate a variety of viewpoints from multiple disciplines into an inclusive framework of analysis. The most challenging part of an interdisciplinary instruction is moving beyond examining problems from multiple subjects to a more inclusive framework of analysis. What effects can we see using the interdisciplinary approach from our students? We'll see increased motivation, increased reasoning and logical thinking. They will acquire perspective. Students can make at least one connection to a topic outside of mathematics. Improved significant learning outcomes, improved cognitive gains, and students are better positioned to understand challenging problems and create viable solutions. This can best be summed up and answer the question, what can we do better as educators? First, we can make students unafraid of mathematics. Second, we can convince students of the usefulness of mathematics in their daily life. And thirdly, we can connect mathematical content to other subjects. If you would like to learn more about the interdisciplinary approach to teaching, please see my resources here. They are excellent sources that help with the understanding of this method. I would like to point out that most of these authors are from different countries like Pakistan and India and China. They have been using this approach since the late 90s, and according to a survey done in 2015 by the Pew Research Center, most U.S. student academic achievement in mathematics still lags when compared to other countries. Countries like China, Singapore, and Japan, and Canada, New Zealand, the U.S. ranks 38 out of 71 countries. It's time that we take notice of what other countries are using and the methods that they're using to teach. I'd like everybody to remember the second part of Luke 12:48, saying, "For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required, and to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more." Thank you, and I'm all praying for you.